Hello and welcome. This is D&D in 5, where we talk all things Dungeons and Dragons. And whether you're prepping for your next session or you're entirely new to the game, we're here to help. In this series, we talk 5th edition game mechanics. And buckle up, because this is part 1 of your turn in combat. With initiative rolled, combat has begun, and it's your turn. Relax, just think battering ram or B-ram for bonus action, reaction, action, and movement, as you have one of each. Now today we're going to go a little bit in depth into actions, as they are the juice of combat. Now the attack action is the most commonly used action in Dungeons and Dragons. Whether it be friend or foe, it usually requires an attack roll and a damage roll. How hard do you hit them if you do hit them? Now, whether it be melee or ranged, if you do have the extra attack feature, say you a fighter or a barbarian, this is the only type of action that benefits from that feature. So if you have the extra attack feature, it does not benefit the dodge or the disengage or casting a spell. There are 2 special melee attacks you can also make, called the shove and the grapple. If you want to shove someone by tripping them and they fall prone or pushing them back 5 feet and maybe off a cliff, that's a shove. If you want to grapple them, holding them in place with one free hand, that's a grapple. Both the shove and the grapple require a contested athletics check, a skill check challenge between you and your opponent, where if you win, well, you have the effect of grapple or shove. When you want to cast a spell, the casting time will tell you what type of action is required to cast that specific spell. It's not just an action every time. It could be a bonus action or a reaction, or even longer. Now that said, the spell will tell you what it requires, sometimes an attack roll, or your opponent to make a saving throw. Now if you want to cast multiple spells in one turn, you may, maybe with a reaction, a bonus action, and an action. However, only one of those spells can require a spell slot. The dash action is where you take your action and devote it to moving again, meaning if you have your movement, you can use your action to move again. 30 feet plus 30 feet equals I'm running super far. The disengage action is where you want to move away from an opponent without provoking an attack of opportunity. An attack of opportunity is where someone can swipe at you if you try and run away from their reach. But if you disengage, they can't. The dodge action is entirely reserved to make your DM very mad at you. It's where you impose disadvantage on all attacks against you, and you have advantage on dexterity saving throws. The help action is where you distract an enemy within 5 feet of you to give any of your allies advantage on their next attack against that creature. Now, when you use the hide action, you should ask yourself 4 things. Is the enemy actively searching for me? Are we in combat? Do they have line of sight? And did I just try and hit them? If you say yes to one of those things, the hide action may not work this round. Regardless, the hide action is where you try and stealth away from your enemies so you're unseen. Now your DM will determine if that goes against the enemy's passive perception or perception check. Now when you ready an action, you should think 2 things. 1, I need a trigger for my reaction to occur. And 2, do I want to move or conduct an action with that readied action? Now that said, if the trigger doesn't happen, or it does and you choose to ignore it, well, your action's wasted. And remember, a readied action uses your reaction. The search action is where you're hastily looking for something in mid-combat, where your DM may have you roll an investigation check, whether it be to find an invisible creature or something around a room that you need immediately. And lastly, using an object. Sometimes it may require a check, but if you're just chugging a health potion or inserting a key quickly into the door, maybe not. Alright party people, this has been D&D in 5, and if you have anything you want discussed on this channel, let us know how we can help you out. Also, we're looking for an outro other than Stay Frosty, so please leave me a comment. Thanks guys.